Hello, and welcome to a better late than never edition of It's Just Me. I'm Brent Fox. My apologies about the delay for the show. I'm not going to make any excuses, but I'm here to make sure that there is content available. So, that being said, let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, so I do have a bit of boxing news as today is a big boxing day. So, first, we have Inoue versus Juntao Nakatani. That fight took place in Japan early this morning, and I think that it may have been, I think, on the zone, if I'm not mistaken. So, this particular fight was a highly anticipated, I think it was a flyweight fight or super flyweight fight. Um, for, I believe, was it for, I think it was for all of the belts. And of course, excuse me, Monster Inoue went on and he went on to actually win by a very close decision on one card, which was 115 to 113. And then on the other two cards, it was 116 to 112. So, of course, Inoue had to actually pull some rounds out midway through the fight. And then also at the beginning of the fight, it looked like Inoue was actually in control. The mid rounds were where I think where Nakatani really showed up, and then I think maybe in may have been the 10th and possibly like the last round, Nakatani showed up again. But it was a situation where it just took him a little too long to get started, and it was more of a boxing match than it was like a highly anticipated war where people were getting dropped and having to get back up and fight again and all that good stuff. None of that really happened. So, again, congratulations to Monster Inoue for, securing his titles. And I don't really know where he goes from here. I mean, he can go up in weight and possibly fight at 130. I don't know if his frame is going to allow him to go to 135, but stranger things have happened. But yeah, we'll have to see what's actually next because he quite literally is like cleaning up all of the people that fans are requesting him to fight. So pretty soon there's not really going to be anybody left. Now, the fight that's actually taking place tonight between David Benevidez and Zurdo Ramirez should be a highly anticipated one as well. Now, of course, Zurdo is actually going to be the bigger man, and this is at cruiserweight. Let me not forget that. This is at cruiserweight, and David Benavidez is a challenger in this one, and Zurdo Ramirez, of course, is the champion. So Zurdo is actually a southpaw, and then David, of course, is an orthodox fighter. He can switch, but he doesn't do it too often. But with this fight, we'll have to see. Now, it is rumored that one Canelo Alvarez may actually be in attendance for this one. We will have to see. If that's the case, and he wins his fight against Christian and Billy this fall, I believe. I think he's going to fight in September. If he wins that fight this fall, then there could be a possibility that he revisits I'm sorry. He revisits possibly fighting, excuse me, David Benavidez. But we'll see how that goes. Knowing Canelo, he might tease it, and then the week after he teases it, he'll act like he don't know nothing about it. It's a trip. But yeah, we'll have to see what that develops into. Now, if David actually winds up beating Zurdo Ramirez convincingly, I think he takes Cinco de Mayo weekend from Canelo. Canelo's weekends, plural, used to be this weekend, which is Cinco de Mayo weekend, and then Mexican Independence Day weekend, which is like mid September usually. But with Benevidez fighting this particular weekend, and again, if he makes a statement performance, he's taking Cinco de Mayo. Sorry, Canelo, you might not even be able to get it back after that. So, y'all just be on the lookout for that. If he performs well against Zordo, who is not a pushover by any means. Zordo is a champion for a reason. And of course, even though David may be slightly favored, it's still going to be a pretty good fight. So, or I would expect a pretty good fight. Let me word it that way, because with the Nakatani Inoue fight, you never know. But yeah, look forward to actually seeing what he does. Speaking of looking forward, Errol Spence had his first press conference in the fight that he is going to have July 25th against Tim Tszyu. Now, Earl, being Earl, was laid, he's was his normal laid back but witty, but takes no BS from nobody type self. So it was good to actually see him again back in his element. And I can't wait to see what he actually can do or shown as far as his new training with Ronnie Shields. So I'm very excited to see if he has some new tools that he actually utilizes against Tim Tszyu. I mean, if he is able to utilize footwork at all, I mean, he's already got Tim Tszyu beat from there. And then, of course, Earl has legendary punching power, despite the performance or the destruction. Let's just be honest about it. That he faced against Terrence Bud Crawford. I think that, of course, his power is actually going to go back, is going to come back, especially moving up in weight. That way he's not that drained and would be able to execute what he would want to, or has a better chance, of executing the fight plan that he wants to. So, we'll see about that. I really do hope to see that. I really do hope to see more tools or more in depth, just kind of more in depth usage of his skills and abilities. So, again, look forward to that. And for the sake of me not repeating myself, I will try to move on to another subject. Boots Ennis has teased that, of course, if him and Terrence Bud Crawford were to ever get in a ring, that he would actually beat or dominate Terrence Bud Crawford, which I don't know about that. And the reason that I'm actually bringing that up is because I just got off a site called Boxing News. Shout outs to them. And Turkey Al-Sheikh was teasing a possible, and let me just say possible, return for Terrence Bud Crawford in 2027. It is only possible that he may come back and fight. It is not a definite thing, but if he does come back and fight, that would actually be a good fight, depending on the performance that Spence actually puts on against Tim Tszyu. I would love to see him fight somebody else before fighting Bud, though. But depending on how that performance goes, and then him being able to, him being able to go up a weight class and be able to maybe be able to withstand punches better, that may help Earl in a possible rematch, but we'll have to see. I think that probably 160 would be best. 160 would probably be best. That way both men don't have to compromise much as far as like weight reduction. And shouts out to the Queens of the Ring for that particular suggestion. Or I'm sorry, the Queens of Boxing Talk. There's some issues with Queens of the Ring. So, the Queens of Boxing Talk. Shout out to Nick J and Boxiano um, for that wonderful suggestion. I do think that Earl and of course Bud, if they do a rematch, they should fight at 160 definitely. Now, honestly, I honestly think because any other type of stuff that goes on in boxing is speculative. Yes, I am very well aware of the financial woes of one Floyd Mayweather, and then yes, I am also aware of the latest antics from Adrian Broner. That is not the type of show that I actually run. I'm not going to be talking about people and people making horrible decisions and things like that. Well, excuse me, I try to avoid talking about things like that. I try to talk about the fights that are actually here. I also just try to talk about the guys that are focused on fighting and how their matchups with other fighters willing to fight positively impact the sports. This is not a gossip column. I don't get into all of that stuff. Shouts out to the people that do because they do it way better than I ever would. So, you know, that's their lane. I'm just gonna stay in mine, which is just basically going over possible matchups and me being excited about actual fights that are happening. So there's that. Now I will say, speaking of fights that may actually happen, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua may fight. But let me tell y'all this. This may be coming from one Mike Carpenter who is highly untrustworthy. This gentleman was also someone that mentioned that, hey, Tyson Fury is going to fight Anthony Joshua, and then Tyson Fury had to wind up fighting Deontay Wilder a third time, and that never surfaced. There have been some misses that he also made before that. I wish I could just kind of rattle off an example, but I want to make sure that I'm accurate giving those particular examples. But I do know that one for sure was a very bad miss. So, you know, we'll see when they actually have an introductory press conference if that's true. But until then, I do not trust Mike Carpenter as a source. Um, you know, honestly, y'all, I think that's pretty much gonna be it. I hate to abruptly end the show like this, but again, as you could probably tell downstairs, my son is just hollering because he's watching Spider Man and all that good stuff. That I do have things to tend to, and I can't spend the time that I used to be able to spend. But I do thank you all for tuning in to It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox. Please support my brothers, Jared O11 Green and Coach 67 Sports TV. You can find them you can find Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms because he liked that. And then my brother, Jared O11 Green, has multiple shows, one of which was From a Black Man's Perspective that they actually did today. And I think that was something that they did 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So please go check that out. And then we have the Southern Baller Show where we all come together as a collective and we discuss sports subjects of the day. All right, y'all. This is It's Just Me. I'm Brent Fox, and I will see you later. Bye.